have a second here. Okay. Make a motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting. Any revisions or corrections?
Peter,
Yes.
are these statistics, the second side, I mentioned to Coco, the second paragraph, the board will need statistics before approval. What statistics are they?
That would be a Jack question. He's reading it now.
Second side, second paragraph, last sentence.
Oh, I don't have that in front of me, Peter, sorry.
Oh, it was on the last set of minutes.
Right, what does it say?
The board will need statistics before approval.
Jack was referencing when you were explaining to the town board proposing the paramedics 24/7, 365 days a year. And Amber mentioned that you would be called to the board and that they want to see statistics.
Gotcha, so that was about a budgetary issue that was resolved, Father.
So the board doesn't need the statistics.
The town board.
Oh, I beg your pardon, the town board.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it.
Sorry about that.
Sorry.
So if there are no corrections or changes, I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Okay. Jack, your report, please.
All right, so we're moving right along here. To date, today, we had 336 calls. So we're a little bit higher than normal, but kind of in the same framework. We usually have about 20 calls in December, so I'm not sure where it's going to leave us, a little bit high. As far as membership, last time I reported, we had 2 new members in training. Those 2 members, Amber Wilson and Katie Binder, have been approved and cycling through training, which is great. They should be out on the road shortly. And the 2 active members that are out on medical leave continue to remain out on medical. The hospital situation that I reported on, they've made some improvements or some corrections. There's still a little bit that has to be done, but they are definitely addressing the issue. So that's a great thing to report, that it's getting near resolution. The Joint Fire Department and EMS Chief meeting, officer meeting, we had a continuation meeting on 12/5 to go over some of the issues that we've been trying to work on. It's been a very successful meeting with them. We're getting some things resolved. We were able to go to their fire training in November as requested. As you remember, that was one of the points, that they have an ambulance go with them on training and mutual aid. So we joined them in November, and we just got the schedule for 24. So we'll make sure that we assist them with that. The policy manual continues to be a work in progress. It's, it's several policies and operational guidelines. Just right now, making sure that the operational guidelines are all in conformance with the state health law. And it looks like we should be able to present that to the town board for approval shortly, or update approval, if you will. One of the other projects that we had open is that we did a shared service offer to the fire department for paging, as I did talk about at the last meeting. The chiefs have given me a list of those members, so within the next week or 2, we'll be able to roll that out. So the service that we pay for, we're going to share with the fire department, and allow their fire calls to be given to their members on an app or texting or both. So that's a constructive thing that we got done. The training for the EMTs, Peter, you'll be most familiar with that. Every 3 years, the EMTs have to recertify. one of the ways to do that is with continuing medical education classes online. It is predominantly now. There's 24 mandatory core classes or important areas that they have to attend to. What we decided to do, since we didn't go to Vital Signs this year in person, we had the monies to redirect towards paying an instructor to come out, and rather than individuals doing it online, which I'm sure most of us can appreciate is not all that exciting and hard to get done, we had the classes in person. The 24 mandatory classes we've done broken into 3 8-hour days. We've done 2 of the days, and the next date will be in January, I believe January 7th or so. And what that allows is for all EMTs to get all their required training done in 3 days, rather than spread out over 3 years and online and trying to remember to get it done. So that was a huge success. We were fortunate enough to hire one of the instructors that teaches the paid staff at Stony Brook. So it's a very knowledgeable and interesting person. So those classes have gone well and very receptive by the members to get it done, and they'll be at the next one. So the foundation, I don't think I reported on this number, but the foundation, in case I didn't, so I don't miss it, gave a donation to the town of $75,000, which was for the capital fund, which gets put into usually allocating the purchase of a new ambulance. As we know, it's about, well, our last ambulance, I believe, was around $350,000. So that $75,000 will build in the fund. And historically, the town has not had to purchase any ambulance vehicles. It's all been done through donation, and we're working on continuing that. So that $75,000 was accepted by the supervisor and will be put in our capital reserve for a vehicle in the future. We received a donation from a community member that had purchased a piece of equipment usually used by ambulances to move people up and down stairs. They no longer had a need for it. We took that. It's something that we can use, and we'll send them a thank you for that. The town attorney and myself are going to be working on re-upping the contract with the grant with Stony Brook for the future. We have an agreed upon dollar amount, but technically the contract or the grant is expired. So I've asked the town attorney to get that re-upped, so we have an actual in writing contract for the grant. Couple standbys, couple community functions that the ambulance participated in. We stood by for the 5K race. We stood by for the turkey plunge, and we participated November 25th. Southampton Town had a holiday parade, which we had a bunch of people go over. We decorated our ambulance. It was actually a real fun event, and Christmas lights with fire trucks and Santa, and then the community lit their tree and had fireworks. So it was kind of a fun thing to participate in, and it's nice for us to get out and be with other agencies that we might be asking for assistance in the future from. So we kind of maintain those or establish those relationships, which is a nice thing. The last big thing that I had is twofold. It's kind of on the police end and it's kind of on the ambulance end, but we've had some dialogues with the ferry companies over the last year or so regarding EMS calls and police calls and communications with the ferry, or the lack of. We rely on the marine frequency, which you have to logistically be near the ferry. It doesn't work from one side of the island to the ferry. So there's some communication gap. We've come up with a good resolution to that. We're going to allow the North Ferry and the South Ferry to come onto our ambulance radio frequency. And because it's digitized, we can separate them. They won't interfere with us, but that will allow any of the town highway, police, or ambulance radios to directly communicate with the ferry during times of need. You know, highway can utilize it if they have big trucks coming over for something. Police can use it for, you know, organizing when we notify the ferries of things. And more importantly, I think, is the ambulance. We can directly communicate with the ferry. Sometimes we need to change them. You know, if we have a critical patient and they're halfway across, we might have to ask them to divert and come back. And if that's not necessary, we don't want to cry wolf. So the communications will open up a good assistance for all involved on the town. During storms, you know, we would have direct radio communications with the ferry. So part of that program, for them to be able to utilize it, they had to buy equipment. They're going to buy all their own radio equipment, several $1,000s in equipment. And also I asked them, one of the things, our radio system is one system, and I was looking to establish some redundancy in the interest, or in case the power, you know, we get a power spike and that unit goes down, we would lose our radio communications for the ambulance and the highway department. So I had budgeted money to do that. And part of this dialogue, both ferry companies are willing to chip in to help offset the cost to the town of the redundant equipment. So it's all a win-win. So I expect that project to get underway very shortly. The equipment takes several months to come in, but I would say by spring, we should have all that up and running.
Just a point of clarification, Jack, if you could, related to the communication, are there HIPAA violations or issues? You have to get a business associate agreement with the ferry so that they are sort of under the umbrella, so that no, you know, confidential information can be sent to the ferry company or the ferryman while they're on the boat. Is that something that you've looked at to make sure that there are no HIPAA violations by having them have access to the radio?
Yeah, Doc, that's a good point, and we did. So the ferry will not actually be on ambulance frequencies. We're going to establish, if you will, a channel.
Okay.
It's not really called a channel, but that's the easy way to understand it. A channel for the ferries, and the ambulances will have access to the ferry, but not the reverse way. So no ambulance communications on their operations will be shared with the ferry. It's just like the highway department right now. We can have joint channels that we can share communications on, but they can't come onto our ambulance channels or frequency right now. So it is definitely been considered and will not be an issue because there is no sharing of medical channel space.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. I skipped over that one thing. The dates for 2024, I think, Coco, you said we have to reschedule June 19th.
Correct. That is a staff, the town offices are closed on the 19th, but we have available the second Wednesday of June, which is the 12th, or the fourth Wednesday of June, which is June 26th, if you'd like to pick one of those that will work for the members.
Let's do the 12th, if that works for everybody. It's so far away, you know, I think it should work.
Okay, great.
Okay, and then September 18th and December 18th, that all works. Okay. Mark, I see you in the audience. Anything from you for the foundation?
Well, we've had a pretty successful year. Cricket match. A large donation from them.
Good.
We have a graduating paramedic that we financially supported. And as Jack said, we have a couple of new members. I don't really have anything else to report foundation-wise. Jack, do you?
No, as everyone knows, the foundation financially augments the town budget for our operations. And, you know, I can say firsthand, anything that we ask for assistance, we get. So you can't thank them enough for their continued support. I actually, ironically, from the 2 training classes that we just had, they were complaining that the very generic chairs that we have in the building are not easy to sit in for 8 hours. And I understand the foundation is going to refurnish the training room. So there's a classic example of just, you know, how fortunate we are to have the foundation.
Good. Okay, any old business?
Could I ask a quick question?
Of course.
So the coverage by the paramedics was approved in the town board? Is that correct? That was going to be presented in the new budget? That's on the
Yes,
minute.
the town board supported the continuation of 24/7 paramedics.
Okay, I thought so, but I wasn't sure.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. If no old business, new business, the only thing I could think of is the next annual dinner, which will be in June. Still have to pick a date. Jack, I'll get with Anne Marie and we can discuss that and report back at the next meeting with everything like that.
Sure.
Anything else from anybody else?
Is the work continuing on the garage work, the capital improvement?
Mark?
Is it done?
It's not done. No, Mark is very active, involved in that right now, and it's not completed, but it definitely has started, and we're pretty much getting to a point of either going out to bid or deciding what pieces of the finances we have to comply with. So we have all the engineering and all that stuff.
I've been working with Matt Sherman. He sent us a couple of different drafts on what we need to do. They have gone out to several contractors locally, waiting for prices to come back. It's been a little frustrating waiting for prices to come back and getting estimates. Not just because people are busy, but garage doors are the highway department's waiting for one panel for about 5 months. So getting quotes from garage door companies, which it's taken a long time, but I really want the garage doors on site before we start anything. Because I don't want to have to redo any kind of construction. I don't want to have to redo footings and everything else. So getting them to nail down what they can do for us and how much it would cost is, I've met with 4 garage door companies twice or 3 times. So I've met with the garage door companies a dozen times here. And I'm waiting to hear back. It's not impossible, it's not a difficult job, it's not complicated. For some reason, garage door, they're inundated, and to get quotes and get back to you. As I'm on the phone, or I'm dealing with this almost 3 days a week. A couple hours here, a couple hours there. I talk to Matt Sherman at night. It's just been, it's moving along. It's like you're dragging a ball and chain behind yourself as you're trying to get these quotes. And I know all these contractors, it's not them. It's the subs. So,
But the contractor has not been selected.
not yet, because we're gonna decide on we're not gonna pick the cheapest bid. We're gonna pick the appropriate bid for what we need done. And Jack and I will go over the bids and the companies that are gonna give us the bids and the reputation, that all matters too. We really wanna keep it on island. And they know that, the contractors know that. So, we're working on it. It's just taken a long time.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else from anybody in the audience or board members?
Was the ambulance bay at Greenport Hospital fixed?
Mark, you could report on that. I gave a summary, but maybe you could better.
Yeah, so what happened is, for some reason, they added a wheelchair ramp to one of the 2 bays,
Right.
okay? And It was inexplicable how that happened. And they have torn that down now.
Oh,
They've torn down the wheelchair ramp, chopped up all the concrete, and repaved everything. And now it's, for us, it's never been an issue for us. If our ambulance didn't fit there, we went around back. I was just at a meeting on Monday night. There's still a couple of squads that are having difficulty with it, but not us. We're fine. And they raised the blacktop 4 or 5 inches or whatever they thought would be appropriate. I met with the facilities manager several times. I met with Paul. It's fine, you know, I went there 6 times with our trucks. And they were thrilled, and then, oh, great, this is gonna work. I'm like, no, don't, this is not on us. If I spent an hour each time I went there going over the ferries, then the other squads can just drive down the street and have their trucks measured. And they did that. So everything was working fine. There were bumpers at the hospital. Didn't quite make it for several squads. They removed the bumpers. So they're working diligently on getting this back to the best possible scenario for us to back in there. And for us, it's been working. For us, it worked even with the one ramp. We just drove around back. So old habits are hard to break for some people.
But that's not ideal to drive around back.
You know, but Stony Brook goes around back when they do transports, that's where they park. So, but there's a couple of squads with older trucks that it won't make it. And when they renew their trucks, it'll be fine. And for us, it's been fine.
in back means the ramp for the pedestrians?
Yeah, where the people
Yeah, where the
walk in and
patient-
out, so then the patient has no privacy. They're seen by everybody as they come in the
Ramp.
back. And if there are multiple ambulances, then it's a big problem.
Yeah, so, but it's worked for us. And we put a towel over people's heads and really, we just roll them in. That's why it works.
Well, if there's nothing else, I make a motion to close the meeting at 4:54.
Moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Coco.
Thank you, Peter.
Everyone enjoy the
Everybody later.
holiday.
Happy
Yes.
holidays.
Holidays.
Take care.